You ever hear a song that just hits you differently? Not just like music, but like a diagnosis of a problem you didn't even have the words for? Well, today we're diving deep into Sophia Esella's The Doll People. It's this incredibly powerful track that really feels like a modern philosophical lament. And we're going to unpack how it connects to one of the most important thinkers of the 20th century. And wow, the song does not mess around. It opens with this line. It's direct, it's unsettling, and it completely collapses the space between admiration and violation. Honestly, this one line is the key that unlocks the entire thing.
So that's really the big question we're tackling here, right? How can a song from today so perfectly diagnose a problem that's been around forever? To get to the bottom of it, we're going to need to look at it through a very specific philosophical lens. Okay, so to really get what this song is doing, we've got to put on our philosophy glasses. And for that, we're turning to the work of the existentialist philosopher Simone de Beauvoir to help us unpack the cultural logic that's really at play here. See, the song isn't just describing pain. It's doing what you might call a philosophical diagnosis. It's not just looking at the symptoms, the suffering. It's digging deeper, exposing the underlying system, this logic where admiration somehow replaces empathy and desire is used to just erase consent. It gets to the root cause. So if the song's a diagnosis, what's the root cause it's pointing to? Well, that brings us right here. This is the heart of the matter. The idea that womanhood, in this view, isn't something you're born with. It's something that's manufactured. And this right here, this is the foundational quote from Simone de Beauvoir's landmark book, The Second Sex. Her argument is that femininity is really just a set of behaviors and expectations that society puts on you. This single idea is the engine driving the song's entire critique. Now, this slide really breaks down to Beauvoir's core concept. So check this out. On the left, you've got the subject. That's the default, the actor, the one doing things. Historically, that's been man. And on the right, you have the other, who is only defined in relation to him, the object to his subject, the scene to his seer. Or, to use the song's incredibly vivid term, she becomes the doll. And this is where the song's lyrics get so smart. When Isella sings "Our skin is clay," it's not just a poetic line. It's the perfect metaphor for this idea of malleability. It's about a femininity that's constantly being molded by outside forces to be attractive, instead of being an authentic expression of who a person actually is. And it doesn't stop there. The next line, "and painted blue," points directly to artifice. This isn't real sadness she's talking about. It's stylized sadness. It's emotion that's been curated for an audience, where pain gets turned into something beautiful, and vulnerability is made mysterious, instead of just being, real human experiences that deserve empathy. So what does it actually feel like to live like this? What are the consequences of being treated like a beautiful thing instead of a full person? Let's get into that. Okay, this next line, it's a gut punch. It's visceral, it's shocking, but philosophically, it is so sharp. It's pointing to this profound forced separation between the mind and the body, which is a huge insight into Beauvoir's work. De Beauvoir argued that society encourages men to pursue what she called transcendence, action, creation, freedom. But women, they're often pushed into immanence, a state of just being, passivity, being a body. The headless doll is the ultimate terrifying symbol of that immanence, a body with no voice, desirable precisely because it can't argue back, because it can't have its own opinion. This system doesn't offer women full identities. It offers them roles. So let's look at the first one, wife. This isn't about an equal partnership. It's a role defined by a function, a part you play. Next up, another box to be put in, whore. Here, a woman is just reduced to a physical service. Again, a function, not a self. And finally, mother. It's a role that's often put on a pedestal, but in this system, it's still just another function, defined by biology. Wife, whore, mother. Notice how they're all categories that confine and define from the outside, leaving almost no room for the actual person inside. And that's the whole point, isn't it? What's missing from all of this? The category of just individual. None of these prescribed roles allow for a woman to be an end in herself. She always has to be useful to someone else. And this leads us to what is, frankly, the darkest part of this whole analysis, how this logic turns desire into something that looks a lot like domination. This line from the source material lays out a really chilling logic. Let that sink in for a second. When someone's refusal, their no, actually becomes a turn-on, desire isn't about connection anymore. It's about conquest. Her resistance just becomes part of the game. And this brings us to a huge idea, one that's so important to get. The pedestal is just another kind of cage. Think about it. When you idealize someone, when you worship their beauty, you're not actually elevating them. You're neutralizing them. You're turning a complex human being into a static object. It's a clever way to mask exploitation as if it's appreciation. But you can't keep something like that contained forever, right? This artifice, this perfect, painted doll, it can't hold. And this image from the song is so powerful. It's the breaking point. It's the moment the myth fails, the illusion cracks, and the raw, real person underneath is finally exposed. And that cracking, that breaking point, leads us to our final and honestly most cathartic section, the escape. The journey from being an object to finally seizing your own humanity. So how does this escape happen? Well, it's a process. First, that shiny artifice cracks. The illusion shatters. Then, the system behind it all gets exposed for what it is. That leads to a conscious choice, a refusal to be defined by anyone else. And finally, freedom isn't given, it's seized. Agency is reclaimed. And here's what's so beautiful about the end of the song. Notice this moment of liberation is collective. It's not just one doll escaping by herself. It's an act of solidarity. They're running and laughing together. They reclaim motion, they reclaim joy, and most importantly, they see each other as fellow humans, not objects. Freedom is taken together. And this leaves us with the song's final, powerful diagnosis. The tragedy here isn't just about individual suffering. It's about a culture that would rather have silent objects than equal partners, a society that chooses possession over love, and in doing so, ends up chipping away at its own humanity.